What's going on, everybody? Jeremy Ritz, Courage Pays Better Than Fear Trading, and this video goes out to Rain Mechanic, and he asked for my thoughts on GNTX ticker symbol. It's a company I've never heard of before, and I'm actually checking the name of this, GNTX Corporation. And so I want to go through the chart for Rain Mechanic, analyze it, give my thoughts, and just give a shout out to his comment. And again, if you have tickers you'd like me to look at, send them my way. I'd be more than happy to look at those for you. But let's jump in to GNTX. So I want to start here just by showing Rain Mechanic's comment, and I'll read it to you here. He says, it seems like all the stocks that have really good runs are of companies that are household names, and also things that traders are familiar with, because these are the things that stock buyers think of in everyday life. These are the things that they buy, which are great points. Like politics, name recognition is the key to winning even local elections. As an auto tech, I'd like to buy Dorm, TKR, DAN. I believe these are good companies, but they will never see buyers like Tesla because they are only known by those working in the trade. And then he lists here ticker symbol GNTX, again, GenTex. Any thoughts on this? I believe the ADAS and camera systems in cars are only increasing, and so I'd expect growth in this OEM developer and supplier. So Rain Mechanic, thanks so much for your comment. I really appreciate it, your support of the channel. And what Rain Mechanic is referring to is, think of Tesla, what they're doing with their autonomous driving. Their AI driving, their self-driving vehicles are all powered by cameras, which is different when you look at the Waymo self-driving model, which uses LiDAR. So there's a big difference there. And if Tesla's autonomous driving is successful, again, it's going to be kicking off here in Austin, Texas in June. That could really spark the market for this. This company, GNTX, is in this field, in this area, and potentially this could be a ticker that has growth potential in the future. So let's check out the chart on TradingView and see what we have. Okay, so here is the chart on GenTex Corporation, GNTX. And the first thing I just want to bring up is the explanation of what this company does here on the right-hand side on TradingView. As GenTex Corporation engages in the business of designing, developing, manufacturing, marketing, and supplying digital vision, connected car, dimmable glass, and fire protection technologies, including automatic dimming rear view and non-dimming mirrors and electronics for the automotive industry. And I always like to start with the monthly, just to see some historical information on this company. And we can see that it started back in 1982. So it's been around for quite some time. And then I like to take a look at the all-time high. So let's just go ahead and mark that out. And we could see that all-time high, let me zoom in a little bit to make sure that's accurate, is around 37.74. Now, I did look at this chart a little closely, and there were a few instances where the stock has split before. So we need to take that into consideration when looking at the price. But we could see that this all-time high up here at about $37.82 is the highest that it's ever reached. And if we're looking at it right now on the daily chart, we can see that it's had a pretty substantial move down from that all-time high. And that all-time high was actually hit in 2021. But this drop from that high to where the price is now is about 46%. So about a $17 drop. And if we look at where this low currently is, it's almost back down to the COVID lows. That's an area that I like to use just for a benchmark or a reference point for stocks to see how it interacts when it gets down to that level. And so we're coming back down upon that. And structurally, when we look at the chart here, we can see that we did have a head and shoulders pattern that led to this current drop that we're in. And a lot of times what people will do is they'll measure out that neckline area to the top. So $9.44, and that should be the target for the drop. Now, it doesn't mean that's going to be perfectly accurate or consistent, but you can see that it's close to that area. But following this head and shoulders pattern, we have this drop, and it looks like there is some support that's coming into play here. And we can also see that we got oversold here on the daily chart. And the last few times that this ticker has gotten oversold, there were bounces. but this is in an area where it could be ripe for a move higher. Now, if we're looking at further lows where it can drop to, let's mark out that COVID low here. So that's going to be 1946. And then if we just go and look for previous areas, previous lows where this thing found some supports for a bounce, we could see this area right here, the 1795. And if we really just backtrack, we could see that this actually was a bit of a resistance, and old resistance becomes new support. We'll go ahead and mark this area out here as well. If you take out the nearest supports, then throw the support out the window. There's probably bigger problems with the company, and this thing's going to come lower. And honestly, it's probably not even worth you trading it. But what we want to watch, and why we have these marked out, is, okay, how is GNTX going to interact with those COVID lows? Should it come down there? And if it breaks those lows, how is it going to interact with this other support area, which used to be an old resistance, and how does it respond? And again, looking at that and seeing what that interaction is can give us an idea of what it's going to do. And so, can it come down lower? Absolutely, right? Just because a stock is down doesn't mean that the move is done. A lot of times when you have big drops on stocks, people will try to catch the falling knife. I talked about that in the UNH video. I had an experience with an AMD swing trade where I tried to catch the falling knife, but the move, so you have to give some time for this to settle. And right now, looking at this, you can see that it is facing some resistance here at this 50 simple moving average on the daily. It's getting rejected. So let's wait and see, and we'll monitor this over time. But let's actually just mark out this recent low that it made. And let's watch and see if it will come down to that 2030 area and if it will find a bounce out of here. Again, because right now it's below all the daily moving averages, it's below all the weekly moving averages, and it's not below all the monthlies. We do have the 200 monthly simple moving average right here around that $20 mark. So we want to keep an eye on that. We are coming down to critical support levels where this thing should find a bounce. In terms of upside, you do have quite a bit of upside that's available here, and it may take some time for it to hit those all-time highs. That wouldn't be something that you would expect quickly. For instance, if we measure out how long it took from COVID to its all-time highs here, that was 290 days. So let's say that it does something similar, and that's the low. 290 days would take us to, let's see, when is that? January of 2026. So again, these are things that you could play with on TradingView to get an idea of what potentially can happen. And looking at this, first of all, look on the volume profile, all the resistance it's overhead. But the thing to keep in mind here, so let's talk about bull case scenarios for GNTX. So if Tesla is successful with their autonomous driving, self-driving, the demand for their camera technology for these vehicles could increase. And let's say that GNTX is associated with that in some way, you could see a significant jump in the stock's price. So keep an eye on that. The technology is a dud, that it's not as effective as Musk promotes it to be. He says that the Tesla vehicles don't use LiDAR, they just use their cameras. So let's say that it doesn't work out. Well, that could maybe hold it back, not drive this thing into the dirt, but maybe not give it the growth power and potential that it possibly could have. And then the last thing, let's just take a look at what the price targets are on GNTX here. So if you click on the forecast button, we could see that you have a high 1 year forecast, a high of $30 that they're projecting, which would be in alignment with what we were looking at when we were seeing how long it would take for it to get to an all-time high. The average is $25.11, which is only $4 off where it is now. And then the low being $21, which currently, as I'm recording this, we're at $21.49. There you go, a breakdown on the company GNTX. It's fun learning about new stocks like this. Thanks for giving me this opportunity to learn about this company, to take a look at this chart. I hope you guys are walking away with some information about this company to help you decide whether you want to buy some shares of this or if you want to track this company and see how it performs. And let me know tickers that you'd like me to look at. I will make those happen for you. In the meantime, make it a great day. Take care.